Welcome to Come to Mama, where we're nurturing souls. Sorry, something popped up. How's everybody doing? I wanted to start off with it's been a while since I've been on here. I think maybe December was the last time. I hope everybody is doing well. Um, the energy has been interesting. A lot is going on. I hope that y'all are standing firm in the soil and able to reach them sun rays to grow. So, I've just been observing a lot that's going on these days, and um, all the way down from families to relationships, and people are going through it. I see, rightfully so. If you do pay attention to any of the planet alignments, and I would suggest people go and look at specific astrology channels because when certain planets are in certain alignments, there's a lot of specific type of energies that are happening that may be one of the reasons behind or helping you understand the chaos and some of the great things that are also happening as well. So, astrology podcast is who I watch. Um, who else? When I remember, I'll put it. I'll put it in the chat. Okay. So before I pull an oracle card, I wanted to talk about a few things. And I had, you know, I am a life path 6. So I know that one of my purposes is to help people get on their paths, to help people see their divinity, the greatness within themselves, so that they can get on their path to figure out, what it is that they need to be doing to get on task so they can, come do what they came here to do, fulfill that, right? So, what I'm noticing is, a lot of people that are in relationships, they're really making excuses for staying in them because of what I find it to be is because of your own comfort and convenience is why you stay in them. But with comfort and convenience, you cannot grow. And a lot of these situations that people are going through is through their because of their own trauma. A lot of people, usually from a past life or their early life. And for those who don't believe in past lives, it could be your early life, your traumas that you observed or received or had from your childhood. Um, if you realize that your childhood, when you are traumatized as a child, it is meant to debilitate you so that you can't get on path. So, you are actually supposed to overcome those traumas and ascend. But a lot of times what happens is that we just create a lot more baggage, those baggages around us that weigh us down so that we cannot ascend to be our highest self and to be our greatest selves and to live the path that we came here for. So that's, one of the things that I wanted to put out there because, people are it's like this. A woman and a man are in a relationship and the woman just constantly keeps abusing the man and he just continues to wearing and tearing on him. And whenever that man wants to blow off steam and talk about it, it hurts. He validates the pain and suffering that he's been going through and how he loves a person. And, but he also knows that he doesn't deserve it. So maybe he should leave. But instead, he stays. And so the moment that I question him and I say, anything about that, like, well, why is it okay for you to allow yourself to be treated like that? Why do you allow her to do that? Immediately, I'm noticing that people in general in those situations will start making excuses like, oh, well, it's not that they always do that. Oh, it's not that, they start comparing and they start making excuses as to why it is okay. And that's why you will stay in that situation for a long time and go through a cycle, which is a circle, continuously until you learn that it is your self worth that you're supposed to, that person is a catalyst to you understanding and learning more about is your self love, more about you loving you. Because when you love you, you won't allow anybody to misuse and abuse and treat you that way, no matter what the situation is, no matter what excuse it is. Yes, that person could have had some horrible life or horrible situations, but that person also needs to figure out their traumas and issues so that they can, get through it. And giving people chance after chance after chance, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to stay stuck in a vicious cycle. Okay. So, another thing that I have been noticing is that families have been separating, and I mean, like, you know, mother, fathers, nieces, nephews, aunties. Some family members are deciding to um, leave their family behind, and I'm one of those people. A little bit of my backstory is that I lost my mother and my father in a matter of months in 2023. And both sides of my family, there was some type of issues that came out that were underlining that I didn't see, um, but now it makes sense as to um, some underlining issues that they actually have with me. Now, I love my family, so it hurts me to separate myself from them, but what I can't do is I finally feel like I woke up to the fact that these things have been happening all along and that I was just people pleasing and pretending as though um, it wasn't a big deal. Um, and what actually ends up happening is for me is that I actually continue to get hurt by these other people's decisions to behave a certain way or act towards me. And I felt like a little child who didn't have a say so in my life, which I didn't at one point. So that's when we talk about traumas. When I was young, I was a very passive, okay, and I had that were doing some toxic shit, and I instead of me realizing that of course I was a child, I just went into a mode of let me just try to keep everything happy go lucky. Let me just people please and be cute and don't show any to let go of that behavior because now I'm no longer a child. I'm an adult, so I can actually speak up for myself. I support myself. I'm taken care of by the universal God, the creator. And so I know that everything I have is because of the creator. But I brought into my future the behavior of people pleasing. And people pleasing is a self betrayal when it is done in a way that you don't speak up for yourself for the sake of someone else's feelings because you're uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. It's an awkward feeling. You don't want to fight. You don't want to hurt the ones you love. So instead, you just people please. And when they cross the boundaries or they cross the line, you just act like it's okay, even though it's not, instead of speaking your truth and speaking up. So that's one example of behaviors. There's so many other. There's so many other that we create. And again, some people's traumas are not as bad as others, but I'm not gonna. I think it's important that we don't downplay our traumas because someone's could have been worse. There's no comparison because you're experiencing this life as a spiritual being having a human experience. And so this is your own specific experience. No one can feel like you feel. You may be empathetic and understand how somebody can go through. It's just if my mom passed and your mom passed, I can understand that it is a great deal of suffering and despair from, our parents passing away, but my experience is still different. Okay. And so, one of the things is that it's important that you don't downplay your situation or your things that you have going on, your traumas, your life, because then you're betraying yourself. And we all come here to experience this life differently. And, whatever someone else's experience is different than yours. So maybe they're supposed to, experience that and beat those adversities. You don't know, you know, because everybody's life is sometimes it's a test, you know. But I truly believe that everything around us in our environment, including the people in our families, are showing us things that we like and we don't like. And so what we have to learn to do is pay attention to how we feel. And I've spoke about this in the past. How do you feel when certain things are happening? When your family member says something so rude and inappropriate and it makes you feel uncomfortable, even make you want to cry, but you sit there and you laugh and act like it doesn't bother you. Is that the type of person you want to be around with because of the sake of them being a family member or a friend? You know, how about a family member when you go around and they cater to you and they're like, "Oh, sweetie, do you want something to eat? Let me give me a hug, give me a kiss. I love you." And just very kind-hearted, giving, loving, in many ways. It makes you feel warm inside. It makes you happy. So are those the type of family members and people or friends in your life that you want to be around? Well, I would. Someone who is pouring into me, instead of trying to suck the life out of me or hurt me and keep me in a state of sadness and despair. Okay, so this is a journey of learning about ourselves, paying attention to our feelings. Okay, and now it's about time to start letting go of people, places, and things that no longer serve us without feeling guilty. Oh, we have children. Oh, we have this house. Um, I love my kids. They're, 30 years old, in your house and using you and you're paying for everything. And, your man, your boyfriend, he's, not working and not supporting or your children or treating your children that are bad, whether they're his or not, treating you, it's how do you feel? Because if it's pain and suffering, you need to pay attention to that. Okay. So, knowing when to walk away from a situation is important right now. We're in a year, the year is 8, which is expansion, abundance. And so it's, letting go of these things that are no longer serving you so you can receive abundance. Abundance is so many things. It can be more than just money. It could be an abundance of people around you who do pour into you. It can be a new place that you move into that really fits your needs and makes you really comfortable. Um, Abundance of love and happiness and health and wealth. It's so many ways of having abundance. It's not just money, money, money. Okay. Um, and then another thing that I just wanted to talk about was that I noticed that confidence is really going to come into playing a big role into these times. And that is why through a lot of these situations and relationships with people. Sorry, my son is flying, so I want to make sure that wasn't him texting me. Okay. Anyway, so we want to make sure that we're paying attention because otherwise you're going to waste more of your precious time and something that if you're being real with yourself, isn't working for you. It's not going to help you grow. And then you're not going to be able to receive the abundance because you have all these this baggage holding you back, holding you down so you can't ascend, so you can't receive. How? You're in a sad state, you're in a sad emotion, you're in a anxious mode, you're in a mode of feeling in lack. So, anything that has you in those types, in fear, okay, you're going to want to try to understand why you're there. And if you can get yourself out of that, and I understand this doesn't take overnight, it's not overnight, but just coming to the decision that was doing what's best for you instead of continuously betraying yourself. Okay. Put yourself on the front stage. I had a conversation with one of my girls earlier. We met out for coffee and we were talking, and you know, I we were talking and I said, I was listening to this talk show and I don't remember who the lady's name is, but she said that she made a decision in her life to put herself first, to not take the back of the stage, to take the forefront of the stage for her life. And she did so by letting people know, like, whatever your intentions are for me don't matter, because whatever my intentions are for me is what I want to do, is what I want to have in my life. And that's hard because, so when I'm talking to my girl about it, she was like, well, as women, we're nurturers. Bullshit. Bullshit. As yes, true, we have a feminine aspect to us, and we have masculine and feminine within each and every one of us, male or female. We have both masculine and feminine in us, but a lot of times they're not balanced, and one's out of whack, and you know, one's higher than the other, and it's an imbalance. So, what's important is we balance, these energies within us so that we are not over the top on one way or the other. We're not being used and abused, or, treated badly, or a victim mode, or we're not beating somebody's ass because we need to feel the need to control them because we're stronger than them and bully them. Okay. It needs to be a balance within ourselves. Okay. Um, but anyway, she was saying that, oh, we're nurturers, and I'm just like, that's BS, because um, we're trained from an early age that, if you're this, then you need to, if you're some kind of type of demographic, whether it be um, gender or religion, or whether you're American or wherever you are, whatever color you are, that, do things this way, back your man up, or, be a sacrificial lamb for others so that, they can have and do well while you suffer. No, that's not the way that it should be. So I just wanted to put that out there because self betrayal is a really, really, really deep subject, and you wouldn't believe how many ways we betray ourselves so that we betray ourselves so that we can't be our higher selves. You know, we do it, but we're taught to do that. We're told to put ourselves, to not um, be your best self, or to allow somebody else to have more than you or do more than you, or you're not worthy of a certain way of life, or having things the way that you want it. And I'm not saying walk over people and step on them and treat them bad, but I'm saying that live your passions, live your dreams. And if someone tries to tell you that you're wrong for doing it, maybe you might consider if you want them in your life. Now, I'm not saying have some kids and just, misuse and abuse and leave them in the house by themselves and don't take care of them. I'm not saying get married and go out and just cheat on your husband and have a whole bunch of sex with a whole bunch of other people. I'm just saying learn who you are, and before you get yourself into those situations, because you have a choice, before you get in a committed relationship, if that's what you really truly want, or are you getting married because everybody said that you need to be married by 30 and you have to have a big wedding and spend $100,000, and and you're divorced in a couple years, you know. Um, Maybe you don't need to be married, but you could be in a committed relationship forever. It doesn't matter piece of paper. Maybe you don't need to have babies. You need to have some because you really don't want to have none, and so you decide not to have any. But it's what you want. This is your life. Take charge of your life. And I know it's easier said than done. And that's one of the questions I asked my girl. I said, why is it so hard? Because you make it a habit to do shit to make other people feel better. It's been made a habit since you were a child. So therefore you have to create maybe some type of actions that you say every day. And when we were talking, I was like, we were talking about affirmations and she was laughing and oh, please. And I said, you know what? You may not believe it right now, but after you saying it every day for 21 or 24 days or 30 days or however long, it might start really resonating with you. But why is it so hard to speak some life into you in your life? Why? It's just sad. So people, that's what my message is to don't betray yourself. Speak life into you and what you need to be and what you want. Don't downplay yourself. Don't be the wallpaper. Don't be on the backstage. Take the front center stage and play your part in this life of yours. Because one day, and this is something else I watched, and I don't remember who it was, but it hit me. It resonated with me, and they were like, one day you're gonna die, and your kids they're going to die in 5 generations or maybe 2 generations or three. Your great grandkids aren't going to know who you are. They might see a picture of you and, oh, that's grandma such and such. And, unless you're famous, they're just going to be like, yeah, I'm from her bloodline. They ain't going to remember you. They ain't going to be, you know, trying to figure out what you did in this life in their own life. So I guess what I'm saying is that you better start experiencing this life for you, this one life here right now to the fullest. Try to get rid of all of the blockages that you can to experience this to the best of your ability, to build what you want to do, to have this path, be on this path that you want on instead of what somebody else thinks that you should be. So I'm going to pull an oracle card from the magical herb. I'm just going to pull one out. Compassion. Let's read what compassion means, and then I have to go pick up my child. Where are my glasses? Excuse me. The herb is marshmallow. Marshmallow is good for digestive system issues, when you have like Crohn's or um, uh, bleeding ulcers and stuff like that. It's really, really good for um, digestive system issues as well as slippery elm. And this oracle states, trust your inner feelings and let them lead you a little more strongly. Spiritual energy will be very high, so perhaps fulfillment or illumination as an aspect of life will be easier to obtain. This is a time of giving, of looking out for others, and taking a more supportive role. Remember that the more you give, the more you will receive, and in ways that may be not apparent in the first instance. Listen more than you talk, give more than you take, and bend a little more than usual. Well, having compassion for this world and the things that are going on in it, but stay grounded as much as you can, whatever it is that you need to do. I noticed lately I've just been really in hermit mode. It's been raining. I live in California. It's been raining, raining, raining nonstop, and California needs it. But I think we have a surplus of water at this moment in time. And, you know, I just, my main thing that I say is that it's a beautiful time to be alive. It is, everything is working in my favor. And have the attitude of gratitude for everything that I do have. No matter what's happening in the world, I'm taken care of in my life by spirit, and you are too. So, no matter how hard things seem right now, just know that my compassionate heart goes out to yours, and I am sending love, healing, and positive vibrations. Peace and love.